Good evening, commissioners. Thanks for having me. I'm glad that you brought me to Butte. The work I do is, it applies to suburban places, it applies to urban places. I work in big towns, I work in small cities. Don't do much work in big cities, for reasons I'll explain. But it's kind of random chance whether a place I get brought to is an appealing and beautiful place to spend time, or just some suburb somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And so when I have an opportunity to work in a place like this, I'm grateful. You may not realize how pretty your city is, but for all the things that I value as a city planner who travels and studies cities for both a living and for a hobby, coming to places like this make me wonder why I charge money for it. Not that I'm going to be doing this.
Duly noted.
Yeah. So, yeah, we can bring up the title slide, but I won't be referring to the slides for a minute. I work mostly, so let's just start by saying I'm from Washington and I'm here to help. I happen to live in Washington. I know that's something you don't want to hear. My practice as a city planner has been, at least for the past 6 years, to share what we call best practices around the country, mostly with either smaller cities that are on the up and up, or with bigger cities like, for example, Memphis, that don't even really have an active city planning department. I've studied what's going on in Europe, I've studied what's going on in some larger American cities, as you'll see, but I'm very wary of thinking that the big city solutions necessarily apply to smaller cities. And most of what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight is stuff that I've seen work in other cities similar to Butte. But I do think that I won't kid you, by embracing these plans, Butte will put itself in a very forward position regarding most cities of its size. And so that's something to be cautious about, but I do present these changes with a lot of confidence. So, as you'll be seeing tonight, I'll be talking mostly about safety and about providing room for both pedestrians and bicyclists. But the discussion that I've been having in cities and towns and other communities these days has the reason that I'm brought to those cities more often than not isn't the safety issue, but just the economic vitality issue and the fact that these cities want to be competitive. They want to attract millennials, who are young people in their 20s mostly, who are considered the engines of entrepreneurship in most communities. They want to attract the front-end boomers who aren't necessarily retiring, but most of them are looking at a new place to live. Both, when you poll millennials and boomers, and especially boomers, Butte offers, downtown Butte, I should say uptown Butte, offers the sort of environment and lifestyle that they're looking for, where you're not dependent on driving everywhere, and where you have access to culture and to restaurants and to street life. And if I can't really think of a better term than that most cities that hire me because they want to have more street life in their cities. And most of our cities are automotive, and most of our cities, the majority of the land area in our cities will remain automotive. But there's a small part of certain cities, not all of them, where you have the opportunity to create that sort of street life that you've already started to enjoy here in Uptown. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about tonight. And we're going to turn, now we'll start looking at the images. We're going to turn to Uptown in a minute. But I wanted to start with a little bit of theory behind what I'll be explaining tonight, because I think if I don't back up a little bit and talk about the general reasons why I do this sort of work, you may not be as convinced that the solutions are appropriate. So the general theory of